Hey, Dr. Ron Martinelli with StreetSafeDefense.com and also drronmartinelli.com, and I'm here in New Jersey with nationally prominent knife thrower and expert Matthew Dunn of ThrowStar. The purpose of my visit here is to learn a new combative skill of knife throwing, and Matt is certainly one of the best.
Thank you.
But here's what's interesting that I wanted to bring to you. While I'm here, we're learning that this is all about combatives. Again, returns back to psychophysiology, and then looking at some experiments that we've been doing on time and distance relationships and throwing knives as a deadly weapon. And where this is important is in officer and civilian safety, and revisiting the OODA loop. Now, you remember the OODA loop. If you don't, it's an acronym for observe, orient, decide, and act. Now, the thing to remember in all the vetted statistics on gunfighting is that it takes an officer, even with his hand up, his hands are up, he's pointing at the suspect who's holding an edged weapon, and his finger is on the trigger, it takes him about 33 hundredths of a second to depress that trigger. However, what Matt and I are finding out is that a person who's not even a skilled knife thrower at various distances can actually throw a knife before the officer can even depress the trigger of the gun. Right, Matt?
Correct.
Now, look, it's my second day of training, and it's always about how good your instructor is, right? I can only bring so much to the table, but let me tell you, when you look at these videos, you're going to see me throwing overhand a knife accurately, center punching my target at 30 miles an hour at 8 feet. That equates to a reaction time of 0.18 seconds. So even if the officer is pointing his gun at me and he has his finger on the trigger, I can throw that knife and accurately hit that officer in just a little over half the time it would take that officer to depress the trigger of that gun. Matt, who's a true expert, we put him back at 12 and a half feet. Matt, what happened?
All right, so at 12 and a half feet, underhand, using my technique, drawing the knife directly from the holster, I hit 37 miles per hour.
That's correct.
And that translates to?
That relates to 0.23 seconds. So remember, in the OODA loop and the depression of the trigger, action, reaction, perception, lag time, 0.33 seconds. Matt is accurately hitting that target from 12 and a half feet away at 37 miles an hour in 0.23 seconds. This is so important for officer safety research and civilian safety, because how many times have we seen where the suspect is reported to have his hand on an edged weapon, and his hand might even be slightly away from his body, he gets shot, and the officer is, chastised for shooting a man that hasn't threatened the officer. Let me tell you, what we're finding out is that just holding that knife at close distances constitutes a deadly force threat, and the officer will always be behind the curve. So please watch these videos. They're so important. Please follow Matt Dunn at ThrowStar and follow me at Dr. Ron, that's DRRON, Martinelli.com, and check us out on Street Safe Defense. Check Matt out at ThrowStar, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yes! 30 miles per hour.